And this this time is about that largest country in East Asia. But actually, so anyway, and actually, this is anyway. So I'm sorry. I have just got complicated. But actually, or I have just not. I have just got complicated. But I have just got confused. I'm confused. I have been confused. I had been confused for a short time. I was confused for a short time. But actually, I'm fine. And I should tell you that title and the conclusion of this episode, and before which I'd like to greet and including introduction, and I'd like to speak out my introduction of including the introduction of this podcast. And hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and this time I'm not thinking of creating a long time of episode, and I'm thinking of finishing this episode for a short time, and this time and anyway, this time is about that nuclear power plant in my country. And if you have heard, I think some of you may ha- may have heard of Fukushima, or Fukushima is the name of a place which has nuclear power plants of how should I say that the abbreviation of that power plant is the abbreviation of that power company is TEPC, or what we call TEPCO, which means Tokyo Electric Power Corporation, maybe, or something like that. And that country has not that country, but that company has a power plant which is of nuclear one, and the location of the nuclear power, and that company has or two or more nuclear power plants, and there's another that company has another nuclear power plant which is located in Niigata maybe, and this is about that how should I say that destroyed nuclear power plant located in Fukushima. And recently, the government of my country decided to release treated radioactive water, and that actually so anyway that water is treated. So which is why if some if the word radioactive is added to, or if the word radioactive is used for that treated water, I think that would mean that well, that means that that treated water is dangerous. So which is why anyway, so maybe many people have called that treated water as treated radioactive water, but actually anyway, so according to the scientific investigation of United Nations or something, and that treated water released recently, which has been released by that power corporation, or by our government. So what I have just talked about, and anyway, that treated water, according to the investigation of the United Nations on that treated radioactive water, that treated radioactive water is safe anyway, which is what I'd like you to know. This and which is a how should I say which is an understanding, at least, which is an understanding of United Nations and our government. But actually, but actually, China, the government of China blamed Japan for releasing that treated radioactive water, and well, that was a trigger which triggered, or which urged, or which you know which had many Chinese people call make many harassing phone calls against my country. So which is why, not many of, but some people in my country have received many harassing phone calls coming from made by many Chinese people living in the mainland China. And anyway, so from which I had so from which I thought that that's really that's really so that is really a harassment of low level or low levels anyway. So I thought Chinese people were smart and so I think I'm sure some people or Chinese the Chinese population has many smart people, but actually the truth is maybe that I could realize that that China has many foolish people or foolish people or not maybe those who made such harassing phone calls are so sub-intelligent people. I don't think those who made a lot of harassing phone calls are sub-intelligent people. But actually but actually maybe not all of them, not all the people who made such harassing phone calls are sub-intelligent or foolish people. Some Chinese people some Chinese people have made phone calls about because they pondered maybe they pondered about the future of their own country. So which is why they decided to make phone calls against my country. But actually, and most of the people who made such harassing phone calls were young people or teenagers, which are according to some online news. According to some online news, I can access in this country. The truth is that those who made such harassing phone calls against my country were young people, or young people who are teenagers. Most of those young people were teenagers, which is a fact, I think. And anyway, so but actually, this fact, or I think those Chinese harassing phone calls, or those harassing phone calls against my country coming from China are fad, just a fad. Well, making harassing phone calls against Japan has just become a hot topic. But actually, that fad or that hot topic or that hot spot are going to how should I say are going to so this not to decimate, but they are going to be reduced, or they are going to be cooled off, or they are going to the fat is going to fall down, which is what I'd like you to know this time. And another fact is that wait a moment please. That is about those harassing that huge number of harassing phone calls from China against my country. And another fact is that so do not respond to evil ghosts. And anyway, so if you live in my country and if you receive harassing phone calls from China, and it's fine not to respond to. It's fine not to respond to them, and they are just harassing. They are just harassing phone calls. It's just those people are just making harassing phone calls against you, and which is why I don't recommend that you for example you freak out against those who are on the other ends of those harassing phone calls. So it's fine to ignore them. And those Chinese people may speak out something using Japanese language or Chinese language, but actually, if those stories have no meanings, no significant meanings, and it's fine to, it's fine to dismiss, or it's fine to ignore them, and you can, it's fine. I think, if you are thinking of keep sparing or saving your own precious time, I recommend that, you stop that phone calls as soon as possible, just after receiving that type of harassing phone calls. And another fact is that, so if you and another factor is that, I don't know whether you have abilities to witness or actually see or actually feel ghosts, but actually, so, recently, so my country broadcaster a television program which is real horror stories, which real horror stories, meaning, and using my own Japan, my mother tongue is Japanese, and using my own mother tongue. So the title of that television program is 本当にあった怖い話, and I translated that title into real horror stories. And anyway, so that is a television program of omnibus type, and which means, so, horror stories are packed into a television program, or compiled. Anyway, so they are, how should I say, they are incorporated. Those different horror stories, different to each other, are incorporated into a television program, and there was a story which is about a person who accidentally met a female ghost, and that was anyway, and he was working for a really a busy company, and he had used a bus for commuting, and he went back. He had, at that time, he had come back to home. He had come back to home at midnight, maybe. That story went like that, and he met that female ghost, and to start with, she had some huge pieces of luggage, and actually, and at the last scene, and she met that man, and the man was alive, and he was an ordinary person, and she was a ghost, and that girl was ghost. And to start with, what was funny was that, at first, that man talked to that girl, and that is because, he said that he felt at that time, he felt that some destiny or some fate, and that the connection with that girl was some kind of destiny, and which is what he thought at first. And actually, it turned out that, that girl was a supernatural one, and actually, and finally, and she met that person, and she said something, and she said a thing, and which is, where there's a bus station, or not bus station, bus stop, there's a bus stop, and where my mother tongue doesn't have article, so which is why, so she might have wanted to ask where is the bus stop, and anyway, but actually, she asked such a question, and but actually, she looked real. This is a tragedy for that female ghost, but actually, she looked really scary. So which is why, so unfortunately, that, so when she asked that. She wanted to know where the bus stop was, but actually, so, she looked really, she looked too scary for the guy to tell her the actual location of that bus stop. So I'm sorry for that really a sad story, I think. I think, but actually, that scene looked a kind that scene looked sort of funny. That scene didn't look funny. That is the climax, and the scariest scene but actually, and the guy shrieked, and after which that man shrieked, and after which he ceased to use bus for commuting, or for coming back to his own house, or his own residence. And that horror story went in such a manner, or in such a way. And anyway, so anyway, if you find, if so, which is why, so from which, what you can understand is that, it's fine not to respond to ghosts when you find when you find some ghosts, or when you accidentally witnessed some ghosts. And this is a case to those harassing phone calls made by many Chinese people. But anyway, actually, so so if you live in, for example, Fukushima, which is a northern prefecture of my country, and if you live in that place, and you may receive some phone calls coming from China, but actually, it's fine not to respond. Or the smartest way is ignore those harassing phone calls, because they are responding to such harassing phone calls is a harsh or considerable waste of time. So which is why I recommend that you ignore them. And this is all the stuff I'd like you to know this time. And the title is, I'm going to finish this recording. The title is, "Do not respond to evil ghosts, much less to harassing phone calls from China. 日本没有污染水，有处理水." This is a Chinese part of the title of this episode, and the conclusion is, what is released is treated water, trick or treat. And so I remember that I had forgotten to tell you the conclusion of this episode. Anyway, so the conclusion is that what is released is treated water, trick or treat. And trick or treat is that phrase you said when you were children at the time of Halloween. Anyway, trick or, and when children with ghost clothes visit houses, they say trick or treat, and they get snacks. And if some people do not give them snacks, those kids attack that house. Anyways, the trick or treat means such a thing. Anyway, so, and to trick or treat doesn't that phrase trick or treat in this episode that doesn't have a significant meaning. Anyway, so this is also stuff I'd like you to know this time. So, and the Chinese title means, so Japan doesn't have polluted water, but Japan has treated water. Japan doesn't have polluted water, but have processed or treated water, which is the meaning of the Chinese part of the title of this episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for everything. See you.